John Asen, Director of Instruction, back with you at 3D Golf Performance, and in this week video on our stop slicing segment, we are talking about the transition where your golf club finishes with your hands and arms and body motion, the backswing, and where it starts the transition in the downswing. Maybe one of the most crucial areas of the golf swing, and where most golfers make the compensation for their faults. In most cases with the slicing fault, the face is open and your transition point to correct the open face and start the golf club traveling to the left, you will tend to move the club outward or more forward towards the golf ball. And of course this creates a real problem, because once it gets out here, very difficult to rotate the face. It ends up just being pulled back in an attempt to make the ball go where you want it to go. So many problems can exist in the area of the transition of your back to downswing, and that's what we want to talk about in this. So again, through the evaluation when you arrive, we will determine what exactly it is that you're doing now and what exactly we need to do to make your transition a little bit better, so that you can hit those inside-out patterns with the face closed to the path but open to the target, so that you're creating a nice draw pattern and a consistent, powerful golf shot. So we're going to start you out with a very simple little drill that you're going to do, and this will allow you to understand some of the key body positions that you're going to have at the transition point. So you will hold the club nice and short for me. And what we're going to do is still use our alignment sticks to the right. So even though our target is at 12 o'clock, our aim line with our sticks is definitely somewhere towards 1 o'clock or 1:30, in that range. So you will notice when I take my address to the ball and I get everything in line all the way up to my eyes looking at the inside quadrant, I'm going to get you to start the golf swing with this short grip by taking the golf club and cocking your left wrist and bending your right wrist and creating an inline position of the shaft with your alignment stick. So in other words, it's not pointing at the target, it's pointing to the right of the target. So it's inside on your start back, but it's still in front of me. You will also notice the relationship of the face. It is slightly toed down this way, and that's because I've got a stronger grip position, and with a stronger grip position, when I go from address and I take the club away and flatten my left wrist, that face is going to be slightly shut to the path that I'm going to travel on, or the plane of the shaft. When I take it from here, from 2 to 3, I really feel like most golfers that slice need to feel like they roll the left wrist back this way, creating a more flat or more arched or bowed wrist as they travel up the plane. So you will practice that, and finishing the top of backswing with the feeling of your left wrist bowed, not ever in a cupped position or a bent position. It must be bowed or flat to maintain a face angle that is closed to the path. Very, very important that we finish the backswing with the face closed to the path, not open to the path with the bent left wrist. From here, this will allow you to create a transition that is going to be straight down, back into a similar spot that you hit on position 1, going back. So it's just straight down, and you will notice the shaft is now pointing either the same or further to the right as it was when you took the backswing. So the drill is from here to push down, not go out, but rather down and get the shaft angle back in that line, and then you practice pumping it down, and that will cause your axis tilt, that is your spine angle, to increase this way. The tailbone goes across towards my left hip. As my right shoulder goes down, the shaft stays inside. This axis tilt is very, very important. From face on, it looks like this. So I never want to move this way forward and let the body get too far out in front, too forward. I want to maintain the angles that I have created in my backswing, store them and walk them across, and that is a downward motion, so the right shoulder goes down, the left shoulder goes up, and I create an axis tilt that might be rather extreme. While I'm doing this, I have maintained my flat left wrist, or even an arch in my left wrist, so the face feels closed or shut to the plane. And I pump that down. That's my drill. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1, 2, 3, let it go. And I can really feel the club face rotate through impact. It's closing to the path that I'm swinging on. So I'm creating an arc that is slightly on an angle to my target line. I'm controlling the club face and the shaft. And when I transition from the finish of my backswing to my downswing, I'm making sure that I go down to maintain the plane angle from the inside so that my shaft and head can swing to the ball from the inside out, and the club face will then turn around the shaft's axis. So doing it at the camera angle, it looks like this. Swinging way over there towards 1 o'clock, but the face of the golf club has rotated to an extreme amount around the shaft's axis. So when that takes place, let's see what happens. I've got my alignments to the right. I've got my strong grip. I've got my eyes on the inside quadrant. I'm going to create that top and backswing and transition down so that I get an axis tilt. And I can see the ball again go out to the right, curve back to the left. And interestingly enough, I got 14.9 degrees of inside-out path again. This time my club face was 5.6 degrees open, which simply means that the difference between these two numbers is about 6 and 15, so about 9 degrees. My face was closed to the path. It produced 1,500 of RPM of side spin or draw spin this time. You can see the golf ball with the arrow. So I created myself a pretty big curve again. Obviously the curve is visually appealing to a slicer because you're hitting it the exact opposite. The feeling of power that you get from these angles that we're creating with the shaft and the face is considerably more effortless, and you will start to utilize the speed of your hands rather than using the physical effort to try to hit the ball with a lot of distance. You will be creating distance by using these angles that you're obtaining by practicing these path and face conditions and ensuring that they arrive there at impact every shot. Remember, if they don't, stick with the process. Don't go back to your old habits. Stay with the process until things are starting to feel comfortable, and then possibly there's some adjustments back to neutral. Again, you're over here. We want to get you over on the other side of the spectrum or the matrix, and then we'll bring you to the middle ground. And it's a real balancing act. So good luck with that this week. Good golfing. And remember, enjoy that hit.